Well, joining me now to discuss former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. Sir, my question to Judge Knapp yesterday and to you as well is, in light of all this information, they clearly violated the Constitution. Why isn't a sheriff, a marshal, a police department, or the FBI arresting the people who did this?
Yeah, and good to be with you, Carl. And I think you point out a really important piece of this entire weaponization of the federal government. It is only against certain beliefs. It is never against the ruling class or the elites in Washington, D.C. And so, a law enforcement officer could investigate it, but you would still need to bring that in federal court, of course, unless you're Alvin Bragg and you somehow use a federal statute in a state law proceeding, which he's going to lose on that. So I wouldn't suggest that. But that being said, I think you point out a really good point, which is, the federal government for too long has been suppressing speech in concert with social media platforms. CISA, obviously exempted from this Fifth Circuit ruling, is concerning since, remember, DHS is the one that had the Truth Squad, essentially, that they allegedly dismantled. But, I think to some extent it's alive and well.
Right. Well, like I said, I spoke to Judge Andrew Napolitano yesterday regarding this New Mexico governor and the unethical gun ban. Take a listen to this. I'm thinking to myself, there is no way that this is legal. Is there any grounds beyond impeachment to, have her arrested for this?
Yes. Yes, she can be arrested, Carl. There's absolutely no way that this is legal under federal law, under a state law, New Mexico state law, and under Supreme Court precedent. She is using what's called the color of authority. That's the authority given to her as governor.
So, sir, my question is why hasn't somebody stepped up? Who does any law enforcement have the authority to carry this out? Because it is a federal statute.
Yeah, well, let's first of all exempt the entire Biden administration. They're not going to do anything. So the U.S. Attorney in New Mexico is not going to do anything. The U.S. Marshal, they're all appointed by Biden, all cronies to, Merrick Garland and the like. So you're looking at state officials. And, to some extent, it's going to take a brave sheriff because ultimately the people are in charge. And this is what these authoritarian thugs believe, that put themselves above the Constitution, is they think that somehow that they're smarter than the people. And unfortunately, New Mexico has had a run of Democrat governors who have pretty much ruined and bankrupted that state. This governor is in a long line of those. And now, she's going after citizens and New Mexicans' constitutional rights. And so, not only do they need somebody brave to stand up like a sheriff, but at the same time, they also need some citizens just to file a civil lawsuit to, immediately enjoin this illegal act by this governor.
Yeah, well, Gun Owners of America, a fair number of other gun rights. We were supposed to have a press conference actually 45 minutes ago that was supposed to announce, I guess, the findings of the court hearing that started at 10 a.m. today on this. Now, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I said, how in the world is something shall not be infringed misinterpreted by literally every Democrat out there except for David Hogg? Even he was on our side.
Well, exactly. And, this is what the left learned during COVID is they can put a paper mache outfit of emergency powers, and that somehow they think gives them the right to infringe on constitutional rights. And unfortunately, too many courts, whether it was churches that were trying to worship or businesses that were trying to conduct lawful for-profit business and everything in between, they were allowed to do that by courts that lacked courage. Carl, you're a Navy SEAL. You are the best of the best. I've spent a lot of time with your brothers, and I know that you believe in courage more than anything. It's such an important virtue, and we lack courage in American politics right now, especially in our courts. They have their finger in the wind, much like the politicians in Washington D.C., and nobody has any bravery anymore.
Right. And Matt Gaetz pointed this out on the House floor. It's like, it's been 9 months, and they haven't even subpoenaed Hunter Biden yet. So, to your point, yes. I guess, the mechanism, let's kind of play this out in a perfect world because, I'm actually dreaming of this, is that, let's say a sheriff finds a backbone and says, you know what, we're arresting the governor. They go in there with their force. It's her security detail. What goes down here? And how do you think it would play out just if there's a sheriff listening who's willing to do this?
Yeah, well, ultimately, our, founding fathers counted on statesmen and stateswomen that would, do their roles, and they would be have fidelity to the Constitution. And when somebody didn't do that, they expected that both the citizens and everyone else around them would, censor them in kind of the broadest sense and bring them back to the constitutional fold. But, now that we have the whole left wing of the, in the entire Democrat Party doing these things, we're lacking those statesmen and stateswomen, and we're going to have, like I said, brave individuals stand up for our constitutional rights. But, at the end of the day, we have to have law and order, and we have to have a system that works where everybody does their job in a lawful and constitutional manner.
And there's a reason the statue of Lady Justice is blindfolded. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, we appreciate you being here, sir.
All right. Good to see you, Carl.